I recently came across a parable by Jonathan Swift about the spider and the bee. In the story, the bee gets into a house through a hole in a broken window and gets caught in a spider's web. After a furious struggle, he's finally able to free himself, damaging the spider's web and incurring the wrath of the spider. The spider isn't happy, and he takes to insulting the bee by saying he is nothing but a traveling rogue who can't make anything from himself, unlike the spider, who spins a web to snare his prey and manufactures poison within his own being. However, the bee points out that the spider only helps himself and no one else. His pursuits only serve his selfish needs and hurt others, while the bee ventures out into the world and travels from flower to flower, not hurting any of the plants he visits during his day. He creates honey and wax, substances which enhance the world around him. In other words, when you venture outside yourself and attain the help of outside forces, you can do much greater things. The bee says to the spider, in short, the question comes to this: whether is the nobler thing of the two, that which by a lazy contemplation of 4 inches round, by an overwhelming pride which feeding and engendering on itself, turns all into excrement and venom, produces nothing at last but fly-bane and a cobweb, or that which by a universal range, with long search, much study, true judgment, and distinction of things, brings home honey and wax. Another way that I chose to interpret this parable is in how it applies to reading and education. The spider would say that he needs no outside knowledge or worlds to visit on the written page. He would be content within the limits of the world he has made for himself. No influences, no new ideas, no sharing of experience, just the same thing, day after day after day. Meanwhile, the bee would crave anything new. He'd be a voracious reader, devouring book after book, sailing to the walls of Troy with Odysseus, slaying the lion of Nemea with Hercules, battling the Persians side by side with the Spartan king Leonidas. He could hear stories and live vicariously through the encounters he made day after day, and he could contribute to the lives of others through his own experiences as well. After all, why are we here if not to make life better for those around us? When I was young, I had a chip on my shoulder. I carried grudges, and I didn't want to admit that I needed help from anyone or anything. I grew up in a tiny little house in a poor area of a small town in southern Illinois. But one day in 3rd grade, I had a teacher who took the time to turn me on to the magic of reading and books. As I went through life, I started to understand that life is all about help and community and pitching in for the common good, and that without others, many others, life would be a bleak, miserable existence. None of us could go a single day without the products, services, and information we get from others, like the food we eat, what we drink, our cars, our jobs, and income, teachers, policemen, mechanics, store clerks, and managers. The list goes on and on. Want a secret to make your life 1,000 times better? Open yourself up to new things, new people, and new experiences. It's never too late. As old as I am, I try to do this every single day. Love and appreciate your fellow man. Do what you can to help when you see the opportunity. Show compassion and understanding, because everyone is fighting a tough battle in one way or another. And please read. I'm not talking about text messages and Facebook posts. I'm talking about good books that enrich your life and understanding of the world. I'll leave you with this. My brother recently showed me a picture of a Marine who lost both his legs in battle. He prefaced it by saying, "You want to see a picture of a complete badass?" I was expecting some snarling, tattooed, hulking beast of a man ready to win the Royal Rumble at WrestleMania. What I saw instead was an elderly man with a buzz cut who was grinning from ear to ear. He had a look of complete joy on his face. I told you he lost his legs in battle, but I didn't tell you how. He jumped onto a grenade and shielded his fellow soldiers from harm, getting both his legs blown off in the bargain. Asked if he had the chance to do it again, knowing what would ultimately happen, would he? He never batted an eye before saying he absolutely would, even if he knew it would kill him, which at the time he thought it would. I think that people who make sacrifices like that for their fellow man realize that we are all in this together, mind, body, and soul. And if the world could figure out a way to unite and work together, poverty and hunger would be a thing of the past. Think about if every person on earth had that man's attitude towards sacrifice. We could save our dying planet. We could cure cancer. It all comes down to whether you want to be a selfish spider, content in a self-contained lair, or a bee, a contributing member of a community. I'll take the bee every single time. Once again, thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you all very soon. Strength and honor.